How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Shadowverse Evolve video here on Red Zone Rogue. Today we have the launch of the latest Shadowverse Evolve set, Bullet of Fate, and I'm going to be celebrating the launch with a deck tech featuring my new main deck of the format, a Necrocharge Wasteland Departed Follower deck. It is kind of like this graveyard synergy manipulation deck. It's an absolute blast to play. We're using some new cards and some old cards, and it's a ton of fun. As always, we will have a deck list in the description down below, and I do plan on featuring some other decks from Bullet of Fate as well, so stay tuned for those videos. But without further ado, let's get into the top down and start talking about this awesome Necrocharge deck. Let's do it. Alright, so here is the deck. As I mentioned in the opening, this is a Graveyard Cemetery Synergy deck. We want to get to Necrocharge. You want a lot of cards to put cards either from our in-play area or from the deck directly into our graveyard. So let's go ahead and talk about it. And I've kind of sorted it out a little bit to get us started. First of all, not that important, but it is important to me. We have our Evo points. Obviously, we're running the mono Evo points with mono sleeves. Excellent. We have to theme the deck. Similarly, we have our leader, which is Ania. Super cute. And then we have our tokens. We'll go over the tokens as we go, but these are the only 3 tokens we need in the deck, and we'll talk about that as we talk about some of the other cards. So we'll kind of just set the tokens aside from here. And then we have our Evo deck, we have our spells, and then our followers. So let's go ahead and start by talking about our followers, kicking it off with the big boss man himself, Abysscraft Gilded Autocrat. This is one of the brand new cards from Bullet of Fate, and he's a kind of a key part to this deck. He's a 5-cost 5/5, he evos for 1, and on Fanfare, if there's no Magitrain on the field, we summon one, and then whenever this card becomes engaged, each opponent discards a card. So, let's get to our first token, and that is the Magitrain token. We only ever need 1. It's a 5-cost 4/5, but it's also a Wasteland Mount, and mounts are a new card type. They're not followers until they become activated. So, in order to activate the Magitrain, you can pay 1 and engage any number of followers with a total cost of 5 or more on our field, and then you maneuver this card. What that means is it becomes a follower with these stats, 4 and 5, until end of turn, which is pretty solid. It has Rush and has a really good strike effect. On strike, we select an engaged enemy follower on the field, destroy it, and we heal for 2, which is really, really good. And why that's extra good is, well, let's go ahead and talk about the rest of Icy's effect. So when he becomes engaged, each opponent discards a card. That's really good. So now we have our Magitrain, we can immediately pay the 1, engage Abysscraft. All our opponents have to discard a card, and then we can immediately rush in and get that strike, which is pretty solid. But we could also Evo Abysscraft, and on Evolve, we discard a card, and then we select 2 followers in our cemetery, and we add them to our hand, which is super good. Pick our 2 best followers, bring them back to our hand. We're going to be doing a lot of putting stuff into our graveyard, and then this is going to be great. So it's going to be like a nice toolbox to get cards back. And then also, still has that when it becomes engaged, each opponent discards a card, but also, during our turn, whenever a player discards a card, select an enemy follower on the field and engage it. So if you have Evoed Icy and the Magitrain, when you engage Abysscraft, or Icy for short, when you engage Icy for this effect to maneuver this, your opponent will have to discard a card, and then they also have to engage one of their followers. So when Magitrain attacks, we can get that strike effect to blow up one of their followers. It's really good. It just synergizes with itself. Really, really strong effects. And of course, he is a 6/6. So yeah, we're running 2 of the Evos, and then 3 of the regular in the main deck. Next up, we have another new card from Bullet of Fate. We have Ilgano, Horror Astray. She's super good with the deck, synergizes with everything we want to do. She's a 1-cost 1/1 on Fanfare. You select a Wasteland follower that costs 3 or less in our cemetery. If we have Necrocharge 10, we summon it. If we do, we banish Ilgano. Also, on Last Words, put this card into our EX area, and then we bury the top card of our deck. So without Necrocharge 10, she's just a 1/1, and then she just keeps coming back. Goes into our EX area, we put a card from the top of our deck, we bury a card from the top of our deck. It just synergizes the Necrocharge and this effect to summon a Wasteland follower with 3 or less is really good, with especially one particular case we'll talk about. We have a lot of cards that care about either Departed or Wasteland cards, so this is both of them, which is fantastic. I should also mention that Il'gyno is also Wasteland and Departed. It actually matters quite a bit. So yeah, Il'gyno, very good. Obviously running the full 3 of. Next up we have a blast from the past, a fan favorite. We have the Demon Lord Ektar. And in case you don't remember, it's a 7-drop, 5/6, and it has Fanfare Necro Charge 10. You select 2 Abyss followers that cost 2 play points or less in our cemetery, and we put them onto the field, and then we give each follower on our field +1/+1, or each other follower, so not Demon Lord Ektar, which is really, really good. Once again, this synergizes well with a lot of stuff, a lot of new cards we'll talk about. And if we have Necro Charge 20, we give them +3/+3 instead, which is also kind of crazy. And then also, just while this is on our field, all of our Abyss followers gain Rush, including Ektar, which is great. We're running 2 of. I can see us bumping this up to 3 in certain builds, but I like the 2 here. And then also, I've been waiting to run this card in a deck. I think Tartarus is awesome. So we're finally running Tartarus the Tormentor. It is a 10 cost, but not, it's kind of. It's a 10 cost 7/7. However, it costs 5 less to play if there's at least 15 Departed cards in our cemetery. So that's going to count Departed followers and Departed spells, and we'll talk about that when we get to our spells. All of our spells are Departed, by the way. You can also evolve him for 1. He's a 7/7. And then he has an alternate effect, which we're going to be doing the alternate effect a lot. So you can pay 1, put this card from our hand into the EX area, look at the top 2 cards of our deck. We can reveal a Departed card, once again, follower or spell, from among them, and add it to our hand, bury the rest. So this is great. Helps fuel our Necro Charge, helps basically draw us a card, and it puts the Tartarus into EX so we can use later. It can cost 5, so a 5-drop 7/7 with a good effect is also really strong. And even better, Tartarus has a banger Evo effect. So when we Evo Tartarus, becomes an 8/8, and on Evolve we select any Departed follower in our cemetery and summon it, which is super good. And you know what's a good Departed follower? Demon Lord Ektar. I need to mention this. Ektar is a Departed follower as well. Once again, we have a lot of cards on the deck that are Departed followers that care about them. And so, yeah, we can just get our Ektar back, and then getting the Ektar back gets a bunch of other stuff back, and then Ektar is going to give everything Rush and +1/+1, or maybe +3/+3, and you can see how things can get out of control from here. You have an 8/8, and then a 5/6, and then 2 other things, and then they're all going to get, except for Ektar won't get the pump, but the other things are going to get +1/+1, Rush, maybe +3/+3. Good stuff. I'm running 2 of the Tartarus Evo, and we're running 3 Tartarus in the main. Great card, super cool. Next up, we just have an all-around great card. We have Zelganea the World, 5-drop, 5/5, Fanfare, select enemy on the field. If there are no other followers on our field, you destroy it and draw a card. And then for our leader's defense is 10 or less, we heal 5. It also has this other effect of banishing it from our cemetery for 10, and then putting in an advanced Zelganea from our Evo deck into the EX area. We're actually not running the advanced Zelganea in our Evo deck. We have a lot of slots in our Evo deck that are being taken up, and we don't really get to the point where that 10 is going to matter all that much. But if you wanted to mess around with it, you can add that extra advanced Zelganea into the Evo deck. But like I said, the slots are pretty contested in our deck, and we don't really need it all that much. We're just running 2 Zelganeas in the main, and it's mostly just as a 5-drop kill your guy, heal 5-draw card, which is really good. This one's an Arcana Deity, doesn't have any synergy with the other types, but it's just solid. Now this card has extreme synergy with our other types, and it is very, very good. This is Wretch. It's a 3-cost 3/2 with Rush, and on last words you summon a Bullet Bike and you bury the top 2 cards of your deck. We have a lot of cards that are going to bury the top cards of our deck to help fuel our Necro Charge, so that's great. There's also Rush, which is great, but it also has an Evo effect. So for 1, you can evolve this follower, but you can only activate this if the follower was put into the field from the cemetery. And the best way to do that is with a card we already talked about, is with Il'gyno. So for Il'gyno, on Fanfare, we can select a Wasteland follower that costs 3 or less in our cemetery, and if we have Necro Charge 10, we just summon it, and then you banish this card. Well, this is a Wasteland follower that costs 3. It's also Departed. So once again, Wasteland, Departed, synergy. And so we can get this back with the Il'gyno, and then we can evolve it. Well, what do we get for doing the evolve? Because we have to jump through some hoops. Well, we get a 4/3 with Storm, And when it evolves, you select an enemy from the field and deal it 5 damage, which is super, super good. Also has the last words, you summon a Bullet Bike and you bury the top 2 cards of your deck. Now let's talk about Bullet Bike, because a bunch of the cards in the deck are going to care about the Bullet Bike. So this is a new token, Bullet Bike. It is a 1 cost, which is important. Not important for summoning it for free, but important for another card. You just bury the card, you select a follower on your field, you give it Rush, and if it's a Wasteland follower, give it +1 attack. It's really good. You usually want to cash these in pretty quickly because this does take up a space on our field. It is an amulet, but it is an important one. So keep that in mind. Gives our dudes a nice +1, and it's really good for another card as well. So yeah, Wretch, Evo, very strong. You got to jump through some hoops, but it's very good. All right, so we're running 3 in the main deck. Next up, this card is kind of cracked. This little dude is so good with our deck. Is a 2-cost 2/3 Skeleton Dreamer. Whenever this follower gains attack or defense, you give it Storm, and also last words, you summon a Bullet Bike, bury the top card of our deck, which is good, right? We want to bury top cards of our deck, and Bullet Bike is excellent. Now, why is Bullet Bike particularly excellent? Well, if you crack a Bullet Bike that you already have in play for the Skeleton Dreamer, it's going to get Storm because it will have a change in attack or defense, which is really good. You know, it also does a change in attack or defense. Demon Lord Ektar, who gives him +1/+1, or maybe even +3/+3. So this is one of the best cards to get back with Demon Lord Ektar, because it is a Wasteland and Departed follower, and it is a 2-cost. So you can get this back with Demon Lord Ektar. It will be a 3/4 with Storm. Excellent. Super, super good. We're running 3. These are some of the most ideal cards to get back with Ektar, especially if we have Necro Charge 20 to do that +3/+3. Yeah, super, super good. Once again, you can have an amazing turn where you get like your Tartarus Evo, you get back the Ektar, give them all +3/+3, and you get the 2 Skeleton Dreamers also +3/+3, so they can smash in for 10. Really, really good card. Just a little bronze 2-drop is a banger. Next up, we have a kind of a staple Abyss card at this point. We have Nicola Forbidden Strength. It's a 3-cost 3/3 Fanfare. Bury the top 2 cards of your deck, which is great, and he evos for 1. And what does he do when he evos? Well, on evo, we select a Machina card that costs 2 or less in our cemetery, and we put it into our EX area, and it costs 2 less to play this turn. Now, unfortunately, there's only 2 Machina cards in our deck. One of them is Nicola himself, and he's also Departed. Once again, the Departed matters. And the other Machina cards is his removal spell. This is kind of his signature card, the Forbidden Art. It's a 2-drop. You select any from the field and deal it 4 damage, and if there's a Nicola on our field, you deal it 6 damage instead. And so when you evo Nicola, this is the card that you want to get back. This is a Machina and Departed card, which is really important. Once again, the Departed, really important for Tartarus. And then we can get this back from our cemetery, put it in the X area, and then we just blast something for 6, which is really good. So yeah, it's just really, really solid. We don't have any other Machina cards other than the Forbidden Art or Nicola, so you can technically get another Nicola back if you want to replay him. But yeah, the Forbidden Art's really, really solid, and that's our first spell that we're going to talk about. Once again, it's also Departed, really important. And so yeah, we have 2 of the Evo Nicola. And then in the main, we have 3, because he's super good. Next up, we have another Abyss staple. We have Deblame, Duke, and Dame. 2-drop, 2/2, Fanfare, bury the top card of your deck. You're seeing this a lot. We want to bury the top card of our deck. And then on Evo for 1. Now, what does Deblame do when you Evo? Becomes a 3/3, and then on Evo, we select an enemy follower on the field, deal it 2 damage, or if we have Necro Charge 10, you deal it 4 damage instead. Those are really, really good 2-for-1, because you can blast something for 4 and then attack something for 3. Also, we had that Fanfare to bury the top card of our deck, which is super good. And so, yeah, just a nice little staple. So that rounds out our Evo deck with the last 2 cards, and then we're running a 3 of Deblame in the main. All right, let's talk about some other cards before we talk about the spells. So we have the Great Pick Corpse. This is a really interesting card. It's a 3-cost 3/3, and on Fanfare, we bury another card. Not from the top of the deck, it has to be on the field. And we select an enemy from the field and deal it 4 damage, which is really good. So we basically sacrifice any one of our things, and we shoot our opponent's thing for 4. And then once per turn, when a 1-cost token card we control leaves the field, we summon a token of the same name. Hey, so that means our Bullet Bikes for our deck. Well, we also have ways to get ghosts. So I guess technically Ghost works for this as well. So these are both 1-cost token cards. So we can do this where we play the Great Pick Corpse, and then on Fanfare, we can bury the Ghost or the Bullet Bike, and then it'll just come back into play immediately with this effect. Only once per turn, because these are 1-cost token cards, which is super, super good. Most is going to be the Bullet Bikes. We have one way to get Ghost. But yeah, the Ghost is not bad. Get the Ghost, smash in for 10, or smash in for 1, because it has Storm. The 10 is for the Necro Charge 10. We'll talk about that in a second. And then we can do the Great Pix Corpse, and then shoot something for 4, and then attack again with the Ghost, because it'll come back into play. I don't know, it's pretty good synergy, especially with the Bullet Bike. So yeah, we're running a 3-0. Really good card. Also, I should mention that this doesn't have to bury tokens. You can bury any other thing. So another really good target with this is Ilgano, right? Because we bury the Ilgano, and then she just goes back into her EX area, and we bury the top card of our deck, so we can just play her again. So she's really, really good. Ilgano is kind of cracked for this deck. Doesn't seem that good, but she is so good. She fills our Necro Charge. She synergizes with stuff like the Great Pit Corpse. She synergizes with stuff like the Soul Conversion that we'll talk about, as well as the Wretch. So yeah, Ilgano, very, very good. So yeah, anyway, 3 of this. And then we have the card that I was alluding to. We have an Arcus, Spirited Manager. It's a 2-cost 5/5 crazy stats, but it can't attack. However, it says at the start of your main phase, Necro Charge 10, summon a Ghost. Get your Ghost. I got a nice little fancy Ghost. So at the start of our main phase, we get a Ghost if we have Necro Charge 10, which is great. And then also you can do this effect, bury another follower, and we choose one of the following. Activate only once per turn. We can draw a card. We can summon 2 Ghosts, which is really sweet. I guess we'll need another Ghost if we want to summon 2 Ghosts. I need to go get another Ghost token. Or we can bury the top 2 cards of our deck. All of them are really, really good. Drawing a card, summoning the Ghosts, all really solid. Yeah, Arcus is great. But we're only running one of them because we're not really synergizing all that well. It's just a nice one to have sometimes. Doesn't work that well with Ektar, but it can in certain circumstances. Usually when we want to get those skeleton dudes. The skeleton dudes are super, super good with Ektar, the Skeleton Dreamers. But yeah, Arcus comes into play every now and then. We also have another one with Demonium Punk Devil. It's a 2/3 ward for 2, and then we can take 2 damage and give it Bane permanently. And then on Last Words, we heal 2. It's a solid card, but it's just a 1 of here. It's just kind of like a nice little road bump, and another 2-drop to get back with Ektar. Once again, we have other 2-drops we'd rather get back, but still pretty solid. And then rounding it out, we have another just kind of all-around pretty good card with the Underworld Watchman Kawi, 5-drop 5/5 with Ward, and then when it dies, we select an enemy fall on the field, destroy it, and we heal X, where X was the follower's attack. So just a nice little all-around card. This is just a Necromancer. This is just a Demon, so these don't really synergize that much, which is why we're not running too many of them. But they're okay, and they work really well with the deck in a general sense. Arcus is also Departed, so he does count for Departed shenanigans, Departed Necromancer. And then rounding out the rest of the deck, let's go ahead and put some of the nicer cards, the more important cards on top. Rounding out the rest of the deck, we have our last couple spells. So we have Soul Conversion, great card in this deck. It's a 1-drop, quick, you select a follower on your field, you destroy it, and you draw 2 cards. It's also a Departed card, which is really, really good. This is obviously super good with stuff like Ilgano, right? We can sack the Ilgano, she goes back into her EX area, buries the top card, and we draw 2 cards. Super, super good. We're only running 2 of, but I can see you messing around with another copy of this as well. And then finally, we have a really sweet new removal card, Dead to Rights. A 1-drop spell with quick. You select an enemy fall on the field, you give it -2/-2. Or you can banish this card and an Icy, or an Ashilindrig Gilded Autocrat from our cemetery, and we select an enemy fall on the field, and we engage it, which is pretty good for the train, or just attacking into stuff, or making it so we can get through any pesky cards. Yeah, and it's also as I knock over the top cards of this deck, it's also a Departed Wasteland and a Demon card. So it counts as Departed, which is also super, super good. So you can see a huge chunk of our deck counts as Departed, so we can actually get the cost reduction for Tartarus, so we can actually play him for 5 and do all of his sweet stuff. Yeah, so this deck synergizes really, really well. A lot of Departed stuff, a lot of cards that just kind of work together in various links, and it is just an absolute blast to play. You can do really explosive turns, like I said, something like playing the Tartarus and then evoing him, and then getting back the Ektar, which then gets back your 2... the best ones are the Skeleton Dreamers. Get back the 2 Skeleton Dreamers, give them +1/+1, give them Storm, and just Yo, the deck is sweet. So yeah, this is my new main deck for the current format, but it's not the only deck that I'm building. So if you'd like to see more, definitely stay tuned. I do plan on doing probably a one video that'll feature all of the decks. I'm gonna do a Sword, Dragon, and Haven, and maybe Forest. I'm not sure about Forest yet. Let me know if you'd like to see that. And yeah, so that is the deck. Like I said, it is super fun. We have a lot of powerful removal. We have a lot of redundancy and a lot of just kind of like interflowing links. And as a bonus, it's not a super expensive deck to build if you substitute out the Zelganeas, because most of it is just going to be bronze, silvers, and golds with a couple legendaries, and the couple legendaries are new, like the Ishilindrig. You can maybe run the Zelganea. I like it if you have it. And then the Ilganos, and the only one is just like single Arcus. So yeah, I say give it a shot. The deck is super fun. I'm gonna go find my other foil, ghost. Let me know what you think of this deck in the comment section down below. And thank you so much for watching and supporting the Shadowverse Evolve content. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps, and it helps the Shadowverse Evolve content do much better. And it tells me, hey, that you like the content and you want me to do more. So I really appreciate that. And I just love doing Shadowverse Evolve stuff. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.